One of the most feared of all diagnoses is cancer. Giving this distressing news is also one of the most difficult conversations that I have with a patient in my clinic. I'm going to share with you today some of the lifestyle strategies that we can use to avoid cancer and also some natural ways we can enhance the chances of surviving cancer. First of all, let's address what cancer actually is. It's a disease of the cells in our bodies where abnormal cells grow in an uncontrolled manner. These cancer cells are abnormal in size, shape, and function. It can happen to virtually any cell in the body, and the growths can eventually invade and damage surrounding structures and even spread to other regions of the body. Contrary to what most people think, it is usually a slow process that takes several years or even decades for a cancer to develop. Occasionally, it is a more rapid process. It also occurs in phases or steps. You may have heard of the terms benign and malignant used when it comes to tumours. So what is the difference between benign and malignant tumours? Well, in benign tumours, there are abnormal cells that still resemble the original tissue that it arises in. They generally grow very slowly. If you look at these tumours, they tend to have smooth walls or even a capsule that contains them. They are never invasive and never spread to distant sites in the body. We do not call these cancers. Malignant tumours are the opposite. They are made up of very abnormal cells and have erratic growth. They are still usually slow, but occasionally they do grow quickly. It's hard to define any border on these tumours, and they never have a capsule. They invade surrounding tissues, and of course, they can spread to other regions in the body, which is what we call metastasizing. Malignant tumours are what we usually refer to as cancer. It is possible but uncommon for a benign tumour to turn malignant. I have mentioned that cancer is formed in steps or phases, so let's take a look at these. Initiation is the first phase. This is where the carcinogens we're exposed to, which are a variety of chemicals and types of radiation, mutate and transform cells into cancer-prone cells. The damage that occurs in the DNA is a permanent alteration of the genes. This cell divides and passes on the damaged DNA to its daughter cells. It is so small that it is totally invisible at this point in time. This entire stage can occur in a very short period of time, even in minutes. We would liken this to the planting of a seed. The next phase is promotion. We would liken this to the germination and early growth of the seed. This is when those damaged cells grow and multiply into larger and larger clusters until a visible tumour is formed. Now here's the interesting part. Just like a seed, the initial cancer-prone cells will not germinate and grow unless all its requirements are met. These requirements are the promoting factors that give this phase its name. If those promoting factors are not present, then it cannot multiply and proliferate. Furthermore, if the promoting factors are initially present but then disappear, the new cancer cell growth will go into dormancy until more of the promoting factors appear. Alternatively, there are anti-promoting factors that can slow and even inhibit the growth of these abnormal cells. This is vitally important because this means that the promotion phase is reversible, which in turn means you can reverse the formation of the cancer. Most of the promoting and anti-promoting factors are found in our diet and lifestyle. The final phase is progression. This is when the cancer growth has flourished and has become advanced. By now, it has started to get aggressive, invade and damage the surrounding tissues, and just like an out-of-control plant that can take over your garden and spread seeds to other regions, it can take over parts of your body and spread to distant sites. This process of the cancer spreading via your lymphatic or blood vessels is what we call metastasizing. There are a number of risk factors for cancer formation. Old age is definitely a risk factor which we can't do much about. As we get older, the chances for genetic mutations in our cells will increase, and thus more cancers will be initiated. Anything that causes chronic inflammation in our bodies can both initiate a cancer, like a chemical carcinogen can, and also promote its growth. In the seed to plant understanding of cancer that we have just illustrated, chronic inflammation is the great cancer gardener. The predominant risk factors in our lifestyle includes poor choices in our diet, physical inactivity, obesity, which causes chronic low-grade inflammation, alcohol consumption, smoking, and excessive sun exposure. All of these are in our control, and so many cancers are entirely preventable just by making good choices. Viruses such as some of the strains of the wart virus, hepatitis B and C, glandular fever, and HIV can cause genetic mutations that lead to cancer. And finally, a whole host of chemical carcinogens. I mentioned two of the biggest ones before, tobacco and alcohol, but there are thousands of carcinogens that we can be exposed to much less commonly in our environment. However, these don't always lead to cancer. Remember from the phases of cancer formation, for a cancer to form after the genetic mutation, it needs promoting factors. Let me share with you something that happened a few decades ago. In the Philippines, there was a sudden rise in a very rare cancer, liver cancer, in children. Local scientists correctly identified a toxic fungus found on some local peanut crops as the carcinogen causing the cancer. However, Colin Campbell, a nutritional scientist from the States, went to the Philippines and discovered something very interesting. Only the children from the wealthy families were getting the liver cancer. The poorer children who were eating the exact same peanuts were not. The difference was found in other aspects of their diet. The wealthy children were consuming a much larger amount of animal protein from cheese, milk, and chicken, all expensive foods. Although the toxic fungus was initiating the mutation in the cells, the animal proteins were promoting its growth into cancer. Subsequent studies over the years have continued to link animal protein to cancer and now other chronic diseases. There are two basic factors that will make you far less susceptible to cancer. The first is a really healthy immune system. No matter what the cancer, having plenty of natural killer cells, B cells to produce cancer antibodies, regulatory and killer T cells, cancer-eating dendritic cells, and a host of other tumor-fighting factors from our immune system is vitally important. The second is lowering the inflammation in our bodies. These two are not mutually exclusive. It is vital to reduce inflammation to have a healthy immune system. Based on all that we've learnt so far, I'm going to show you my protocols for managing cancer naturally. Before I continue, however, if you are treating your cancer with mainstream medicine, this is not a recommendation to replace your treatment. You can certainly use the principles that I share to help prevent cancer, manage cancer alongside the mainstream medicine, and enhance your chances of survival. First and foremost, include God in your health journey. This is evidence-based medicine. Even with our own human research, scientists have shown that having an active spiritual life leads to improved immunity, lower risk of developing cancer, and also better outcomes from cancer treatment if you do develop cancer. What does it mean to have an active spirituality? It means putting your life and health in God's hands. We are wonderfully and fearfully made by God, each of us individually. He knows all the workings of our mind and body, therefore it makes sense to go to the greatest physician of all. God tells us that He is the restorer of health in Jeremiah. If you are unwell and have received a diagnosis of cancer, James chapter 5 tells us to seek out the leaders of a church congregation and get anointed and dedicate your life and health to God. In doing this, you know that you can move forward in peace, knowing that God is looking after you. So here is my first prescription. Read and meditate on the Word of God, the Bible, every day. And pray every day, not just once, but throughout the day. It will keep you connected to your source of life and restoration. The next thing we need to do is manage the mindset. What do I mean by this? The stress and anxiety in our lives. Chronic stress and stress hormones can damage our immune system and cause chronic inflammation, putting you at greater risk of all the 3 phases of cancer development: initiation, promotion, and progression. I have a whole talk on ways to de-stress, but here are some of the basic principles. Think positive thoughts, develop an attitude of gratitude to help build resilience to those stressful situations we find ourselves in. Maintain a spirit of forgiveness in your life. Confess your sins to God and also forgive others. Share your load with God and those whom you can trust so that you don't have to bear the burdens alone. Plan your life with God's leading to minimize the stress and take time out to rest in God from your physical, mental, and spiritual labors. Let's move on to the diet. The foods that are pro-inflammatory and reduce our immunity include processed and red meats, saturated fats, particularly from animal products. They are highly inflammatory and have strong links to promoting cancer. Processed sugars and all the highly processed foods from any sources, so your white flours, white rice and pasta, flaked and puffed cereals, soft drinks, etc. Diets high in animal products, saturated fats, and processed foods tend to be pro-inflammatory, and don't forget from earlier in this talk that animal protein is a promoter of cancer growth. Research has shown strong links between all these types of foods and an increase in a number of cancers, including breast and colon cancer. Where possible, avoid all the various food additives, including MSG and its related compounds, artificial flavors, colors and preservatives, artificial sweeteners, and hydrolyzed vegetable proteins, just to name a few. If there are a lot of numbers in the ingredient list, then avoid it. Many of these additives are not only inflammatory, but have some direct links to cancer. On the other hand, there are the anti-inflammatory foods that boost our immune system, and these, of course, are found in a whole food plant-based diet, full of amazing natural compounds such as anti-inflammatory nutrients, antioxidants, and fiber. For fruits and vegetables, include a rainbow of colors on your plate. Just increasing fruit and vegetables alone have a significant benefit on enhancing immunity and reducing your cancer risk. You also have all your whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes with their anti-inflammatory properties and the anti-promoters to the growth of cancer. There is a strong link between low-fat diets and enhanced immune system function. There are some specific natural compounds found in plant foods that are particularly implicated in preventing cancer. Generally speaking, research has found that supplements of these compounds do not seem to reduce the cancer risk, whereas the whole food source of these natural compounds do. So whilst I'm going to share with you some of the important anti-cancer nutrients that are anti-promoters of cancer, remember they are all best in their whole form. Bioflavonoids, which are found in a whole range of fruits and vegetables. Omega-3 fats that can be found in ground flax or linseed, walnuts, or soybeans. Vitamin C, found in berries and citrus fruits. Vitamin E, found in almonds and green leafy vegetables. And beta-carotene from carrots. Lycopene, found in tomatoes and watermelon. Curcumin, found in the turmeric root. Minerals such as selenium, found in Brazil nuts and sunflower seeds. And fiber from the whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and you need at least 40 to 45 grams per day. There are also some really great anti-cancer foods. This includes legumes such as chickpeas, soybeans, and lupini beans in particular. Amongst an array of anti-inflammatory compounds, they also contain special anti-metastatic compounds that can help stop cancer spreading. Cooking or sprouting your beans increases the anti-cancer potential. Then you have all the green vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, and kale. Highly anti-inflammatory, and they help to protect against DNA damage and reduce the overall risk of cancer. Of all the fruits, berries top the list in the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant benefits. They also have anti-proliferative effects on the cancer and significantly slow the growth of cancer down, making them fantastic anti-promoters in the fight against cancer. Just remember the mantra, greens, beans, and berries when it comes to cancer. If you had to summarize all that we've learned about the diet and cancer, you would say that the whole food plant-based diet is synonymous with an anti-cancer diet. This same diet is not only great at preventing cancer, but it can also increase survival rate in those individuals who get cancer. So eat a wide range of plant-based foods in the freshest way possible, and don't forget the anti-cancer powerhouses, the beans, the greens, and the berries. One way to get a larger dose of fruits and vegetables into you with all the fantastic disease-fighting vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants is to make a juice smoothie. This method is using the whole fruit or vegetable so you don't lose some of the nutrients that can happen when you do just a juice extraction. It is also less effort and cleanup is so much easier. So here is the recipe. Blend the thoroughly washed vegetables and fruit of your choice with some filtered water. The vegetables to use include broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, Chinese cabbage, purple cabbage, celery, parsley, beetroot, tomatoes, and carrots. Just a word of warning, don't use the brassica family of vegetables, such as the broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage and kale every day, because these vegetables can cause issues with thyroid function if they are consumed in their raw form too much. Your fruits include blackberries, blueberries, cranberries, raspberries, strawberries, oranges, grapefruit, lemon, and apples. Feel free to add any favourite powders such as barley greens to add to its antioxidant power if you choose. You can also add a few nuts and seeds to turn it into a small meal if you choose. Aim to get at least half a litre of this fruit smoothie each day if you're battling cancer, or a couple of times a week if you're wanting to use this preventatively. Whilst we're on the subject of drinking fluids, what about water? Adequate water intake has been shown to reduce the risk of bladder, bowel, and breast cancer, for example. It makes sense to detoxify your body and reduce inflammation with plenty of fluids. How much do you need? About 30 ml per kilogram of body weight per day, up to about 10 glasses if you're a female, or about 12 if you're a male. In the hot weather or with a lot of activity, you can increase that to 40 ml per kilo per day. The other important aspect of diet is how you actually prepare your food. We need to avoid pro-inflammatory cooking methods, and in particular, using dry and high heat methods such as grilling, roasting, frying, barbecuing, and baking. With these methods, harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products are formed, and up to 100 times the amount that would be found in the uncooked form of that food. This in turn causes a lot of oxidative stress and inflammation, which we wish to avoid. Foods that are particularly susceptible to forming these AGEs when cooking are the animal products, such as meat, cheese, egg, butter, cream, margarines, and oils. The best anti-inflammatory food preparation includes eating your fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds in their whole and raw uncooked form where possible, or in a salad. You can also prepare them with moist heat at lower temperatures such as boiling, steaming, poaching, and soups and stews, for example. Using a slow cooker is also a better option as well. Now, I just want to remind you at this point, there are dozens of carcinogens and co-carcinogens that work with the carcinogens, tumor promoters, and tumor accelerators in the thousands of chemicals found in cigarettes. Cigarettes cause the formation of and then the growth of multiple cancers. With alcohol, there is no safe level with regard to cancer risk. Its role is quite complex in both the initiation and promotion of cancer growth. It is an initiating carcinogen in its own right and then continues to promote the cancer growth. Any amount of alcohol increases your cancer risk, and the more you drink, the greater the risk of cancer of the pancreas, prostate, mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, colon, breast, and of course even melanoma. I would also like to add to this list, avoid contact with and breathing in many of the household chemicals and garden pesticides that we use. Physical activity has an important role to play in cancer protection. Research has shown that it reduces the risk of developing colon cancer by 30% and breast cancer by 25%. It has also been found to reduce the risk of bladder, endometrial, esophageal, kidney, and stomach cancer. Some of the mechanisms for reduced cancer risk are known. Exercise reduces inflammation in the body. It enhances the immune system function, including increasing the natural killer cell activity. It prevents high levels of blood insulin, which has been linked to the promotion and progression of cancer. It changes the metabolism of bile acid and reduces the time it takes for food to travel through your system, which both in turn decrease the exposure of your gastrointestinal tract to suspected carcinogens. Exercise is also important during and after cancer treatments, as it has been shown to improve the symptoms and quality of life throughout the treatment and improves your chances of survival. How much is needed to show these benefits? 3 to 4 hours per week of moderate exercise, such as a brisk walk. Disruptions in our body clock that control our sleep increases the risk of cancer of the colon, liver, lung, pancreas, breast, ovaries, and prostate. This is particularly the case with shift workers, those with prolonged exposure to artificial light in the evening, and individuals who have short sleeping hours. Broken sleep patterns can trigger inflammation that promote tumor growth and progression. So aim to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. The hours before midnight are much more restorative for your health. The restorative sleep helps to repair the DNA of each cell, provides greater production of the anti-cancer chemicals, and enhances the immune function. Even sunlight and the immune-enhancing properties of the vitamin D has been shown to reduce the risk of a number of cancers, including colon, breast, prostate, and lung cancer. Supplements of vitamin D do not provide the benefits of the sun, and in the research it was very clear that supplements do not work in preventing cancer. So how much do you need? Well, it's dependent on your skin color and the time of the day. So the formula is, be in the direct sun for a quarter of the time it would take for you to get sunburnt. Of course, too much UV exposure can have the opposite effect, especially when it comes to melanoma and other skin cancers. So avoid the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. sunlight time periods, especially during the summer months. But if you keep the rule regarding the time in the direct sun, you should not run into too much trouble. There are some wonderful herbs that can help in the battle with cancer. So let's take a look at some of these. Garlic bulbs. These reduce inflammation and boost your immune system, including natural killer cells. A diet rich in garlic reduces your risk of getting cancer, suppresses cancer cell growth, and has even been shown to boost anti-cancer gene expression. It tends to lose most of its benefits if it's crushed or heated for too long, so use it dried, which is either freeze-dried or below 65 degrees Celsius, and you would use 2 to 4 grams daily, or 1 to 4 fresh cloves of garlic daily if you're having socially free periods of time. Astragalus is a deep immune stimulator. In various cancer models, it has shown that it can stabilize and even shrink tumors with anti-proliferation or anti-promoting factors, and promoting tumor killing function of some of the immune system's cells. It can also improve cancer survival time. The dose is 2 to 6 grams of the dried root daily. Siberian and Panax ginseng contain active compounds that can also restrict cancer cell growth and proliferation, invasion and migration, and they also promote the death of cancer cells. The dose is 3 grams of the dried root daily. There has been some direct anti-cancer activities found for St. Mary's thistle in the research, but the evidence is not as strong for this herb compared to the others. The dose is 1 to 4 grams of the dried seeds daily. So let's summarize. Put your life and health in God's hands, either in your efforts to prevent cancer or manage the disease if you have received the diagnosis. Make sure you manage the stress and anxiety in your life. Choose to eat a whole food plant-based diet, paying particular attention to your greens, beans, and berries. Include plant smoothies as often as you can. Drink plenty of detoxifying water. Use anti-inflammatory cooking methods. Avoid smoking, alcohol, household and garden chemicals. Always include exercise in your health journey. Get adequate restorative sleep and enjoy a daily dose of appropriate sunlight. If you implement as many of these measures as you can into your lifestyle, you will significantly enhance your chances of preventing and beating cancer. Remember, your health choices will change your life. Blessings to you and your health.